So I'm currently pregnant with my second child. I just found out my husband is having an affair, but he wants to move back home. He thinks that I'll just forgive him, but here's the craziest part of the entire situation. He doesn't want to end the affair. Her name is Amber. She's like 15 years younger than him, and he's telling me they're going to be a big happy family, all of us included. But the worst part is, not only am I so pregnant, I'm about to have my baby, I find out that he got Amber pregnant too, and he wants to have 2 wives, living under the same house. Well, you know how crazy I think that sounds? Let me break it down for you with 7 updates. I never thought I'd actually be one of those women just on the internet about their cheating husband, but here I am, sitting in my bathroom. It's the only place my toddler will not hear me cry. My hands, they hurt from writing and deleting and writing, but my name is Brooke. 2 weeks ago, my entire world imploded when I discovered my husband Shane has been having an affair with Amber, his 23-year-old co-student from his executive MBA program, and keep in mind, he's 39. We have a 14-month-old son, Jackson, who just started walking last week. His first real steps were towards Shane, who was too busy texting to even notice, and I'm also 6 months pregnant with our second child, a girl we're planning to name Emma. The nursery is half painted in this beautiful soft yellow hue because we wanted the gender to be surprising for everyone. I spent 3 weekends picking the exact shade, driving Shane crazy with paint samples. He said it looked like baby puke, but I loved it anyways. For the past month, Shane's been living with his brother Travis in a bachelor pad apartment that always smells like old pizza and spilled beer. Travis has this ancient leather couch that I'm pretty sure has never been cleaned since he bought it in college. That's where my husband, the father of my children, the man who cried when Jackson was born, has been sleeping. But yesterday afternoon, Shane shows up at our front door holding the saddest bouquet of grocery store flowers I've ever seen. You know, the ones, $5.99 with the yellow manager special sticker. Half the roses were wilting. He stood there in his wrinkled work clothes looking like a lost puppy, shifting his weight from foot to foot, saying he wants to move back home. Here's the thing, though. He absolutely refuses to end the affair. He actually placed his hand on my pregnant belly, felt our daughter kick against his palm, and looked me straight in the eyes and said he needs time to explore his feelings, and that I should be more mature enough to understand that love is not always simple. Mature? I'm 6 months pregnant with this kid, raising our toddler essentially alone, and he wants me to be the mature one about him messing around with a girl who was in middle school and we got married. I'm considering divorce, but I'm absolutely terrified. How am I supposed to raise 2 babies alone? My mother lives 3 states away in Florida, dealing with my father's declining health. I mean, he has dementia and doesn't even remember who I am most days. I work part-time as a grant writer for a nonprofit that barely pays enough to cover daycare for 1 kid, let alone 2. My health insurance is through Shane's tech startup job. Without that, I don't know how I would afford delivery, let alone the prenatal care I need for my high-risk pregnancy. The way I discovered the affair is so pathetically modern, it's almost funny. Yeah, through the iPad. We share an iPad. We bought specifically for Jackson's educational applications. You know, the ones that teach letters and animal sounds. Well, Shane apparently forgot that his iMessages sync to our Apple device. 2 weeks ago, while Jackson was napping, I was setting up his new learning app and the messages started flooding in. Explicit photos that made me physically gag. Messages about how I don't understand his intellectual needs like Amber does. How I've let myself go since having Jackson, and how he can't wait for their real life to begin. Conversations about their future together, and after Brooke's baby is born. That's what he calls Emmy, not our baby, not his daughter, Brooke's baby. But the absolute worst part was when Amber sent Shane my ultrasound photos, the ones I'd posted on Insta, with such joy behind it, where you can clearly see Emma's little profile, her tiny little nose that looks just like Jackson's did. She sent them with devil emojis, and the message said, "Can't wait until this obligation is over and we can start our real family." I threw up right there on the living room carpet. Haven't even cleaned it yet. That's when I started checking our bank account statement. Shane's been hemorrhaging our joint savings on hotel rooms. At the downtown Marriott, $400 a night, sometimes twice a week. The same Marriott where we spent our anniversary last year, where he said it was too expensive for more than one night. Dinners at restaurants where the appetizers cost more than I spend on groceries for a week. There's a $3,000 charge at Tiffany's from last month when he told me we could not afford the $30 copay for my prenatal vitamins, so I've been buying generic ones that make me nauseous. His mother, Vanessa, found out about everything last week when I finally broke down and told her, hoping for some support, some motherly solidarity. She sat in my kitchen drinking the tea I made her, eating the banana bread I baked from scratch while fighting morning sickness, and told me I need to, quote, be more understanding of Shane's needs. She said men are visual creatures and that I've let myself go during this pregnancy. I've gained 18 pounds. My doctor says it's perfectly healthy for 6 months, and Vanessa suggested I try harder to keep his interest, maybe wear makeup to bed or cook more elaborate dinners. This from a woman whose son is actively destroying our family. But here's what really shattered my heart into a million pieces. Shane brought Amber to our mutual friend Grant's wedding last month. I was supposed to be his plus one. We RSVP'd together. I bought a new dress that would accommodate my bump. Spent money we didn't have because I wanted to feel beautiful for once. But that morning I woke up with morning sickness so severe I couldn't keep water down. Shane held my hair back while I just threw up, brought me crackers and told me he just skipped the wedding to take care of me and Jackson. Instead, he dropped Jackson at his mother's and took Amber. Our friends watched them slow dance to Your Song by Elton John, the same song we danced to at our wedding. Grant's wife, Melissa, just told me yesterday. Her voice was shaking with rage. She thought I knew. She thought I was okay with it. The entire wedding, apparently, people were whispering about Shane's new girlfriend and how much happier he looks, how much younger and prettier she was than me. And that's where I'm at right now, guys. I'm going to end this post because I'm going to go drown my thoughts in vanilla ice cream. Update number 1, guys. It's been exactly 2 weeks since the original post, and OP has a lot to say. Against every piece of advice I received, against my own better judgment even, Shane moved back in. I say moved back in, but really he just showed up with Travis in a U-Haul while I was at my prenatal appointment learning that Emma's measuring small, and I need extra monitoring. My neighbor texted me that there was a truck in our driveway. By the time I got home, rushing of course because I thought that we were being robbed, Shane's Xbox was already hooked up to the living room TV. His dirty laundry was piled in our bedroom floor, and he'd eaten the lunch I prepared for Jackson. He kissed my belly like nothing happened and asked, "What's for dinner?" 3 nights ago changed everything. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning with that pregnancy urge to pee. That feels like your bladder might explode. Well, as I was waddling past our bedroom, I've been sleeping in the nursery on the futon. I heard whispering and giggling, and Shane was FaceTiming Amber from our marriage bed, the same bed where we conceived both of our children, the bed my grandmother's quilt sits on, and the one she made for my wedding. I could hear Amber through the door talking about the lingerie she bought for their special weekend at a resort that he booked with our emergency fund, how she could not wait to play house in my kitchen again. She was laughing about how Jackson called her mama and how natural it felt. I made it to the bathroom just in time to throw up, and this time it was not morning sickness, it was pure disgust. He's been conducting a masterful smear campaign against me. Every person in our social circle has heard how I'm emotionally unstable due to pregnancy hormones. His CrossFit buddies think I'm some sort of, crazy monster who screams at him for no reason. Our neighbors, they avoid eye contact with me but give Shane sympathetic looks. Even my own sister called from Oregon to gently suggest I might want to talk to someone about my mood swings, and that Shane is just trying his best with a difficult situation. Yeah, he's that charming, he's that convincing. He makes you feel crazy for having completely normal human reactions to betrayal. But, here's where this story takes a turn that made my blood run cold. Amber is married. Yeah, that's right, her husband Dustin. He's a Marine, currently deployed overseas serving this country in a location he can't even disclose for security reasoning. He's been gone for 8 months. Shane knows it. Not only knows, but has been actively helping her hide the affair. He bought her a separate phone just for communication. He taught her how to use an application that automatically just deletes messages. How to manipulate location settings so it looks like she's home when she's at hotels with him. I discovered this when her Instagram popped up as a suggested friends. She forgot to make it fully private, and there's photos from her wedding 2 years ago. Dustin in his dress blues, looking at her like she hung the moon. Photos of him deploying, her crying at the base, holding a sign that says waiting for my hero. Photos of her wearing his dog tag, promising to be faithful. The financial devastation is worse than I imagined. Shane opened 3 credit cards in my name using my social security number. Information he has from doing our taxes, maxed out, $30,000 in debt that I didn't even know existed until collection agencies started calling during Jackson's nap time. He's been paying Amber's rent, $2,500 a month for some luxury apartment downtown, while we're 3 months behind on our mortgage. I found the foreclosure notice yesterday, hidden inside of his gym bag under his sweaty clothes. We had 30 days to pay or start proceedings. 30 days before my children are homeless? His business partner, Paige, called me directly, concerned because Shane has not shown up to their tech startup office in 3 weeks. He leaves every morning in his suit, kisses Jackson goodbye, and goes somewhere that isn't work. He even told Paige that he's going through a brutal divorce where I'm taking everything, and he's too depressed to function. The same week, he posted Instagram stories from Topgolf, an expensive steakhouse with Amber. I'm so fed up with this, I'm done. Update number 2, 1 month later. Guys, Shane served me with custody papers on a Tuesday morning while I was making Jackson's breakfast. The process server looked embarrassed, would not even make eye contact as he handed them to me while Jackson threw Cheerios on the floor. According to these documents, I'm an unfit mother who has a violent temper, neglects the children's basic needs, and creates an unstable home environment. There's an entire folder of fabricated evidence, dates and times of incidents that never happened. October the 3rd. Brooke threw plates at the wall, endangering Jackson. I was at my mother's in Florida that entire week. Have plane tickets and credit card records to prove it. November the 15th. Brooke left Jackson unattended in the bath while she was on the phone. Complete fiction. The photos of broken dishes were from the Shane when he broke them himself during an argument about Amber. But now they're evidence of my violent temper? Amber is pregnant. 3 months along, which means conception happened when I was 4 months pregnant with Emma, probably during the week I was hospitalized with severe dehydration. Well, Shane is ecstatic. He actually sat me down like we were having a business meeting, explained with a straight face how Amber would be moving into our house and I should relocate to my mother's 1-bedroom apartment in Florida, where my demented father screams at night. He had prepared an actual PowerPoint presentation titled Conscious Uncoupling and Family Restructuring, about how this arrangement would be, quote, best for everyone involved, because the house is better suited for a growing family, and Amber deserves to nest properly for her first pregnancy. Well, then came the diagnosis of a disease transmitted. It came during what should have been a routine prenatal check. My doctor, trying to be gentle, had to tell me that I tested positive for a couple of, diseases. At 6.5 months pregnant, I had HPV. The antibiotics made me violently ill. I lost 8 pounds in a week. And now Emma needs extra monitoring because of potential complications. Every appointment, every test, every ultrasound is a reminder that my husband cared so little about me and our unborn child that he didn't even use protection with his multiple partners. Travis got drunk on whiskey last Tuesday and called me sobbing at 1 a.m. The guilt's been destroying him. Shane's been doing this our entire marriage. Travis knew about it for at least 4 other affairs. The weekend I was in labor with Jackson, screaming through 30 hours of contractions, begging for Shane, who said he was getting air. Guys, he was at a Motel 6 with someone named Jessica from his gym. Travis has screenshots of Shane bragging about it and videos Shane sent him like they were conquests to celebrate. But Travis didn't want to ruin our marriage and thought Shane would change after the baby. So, Shane's mother, Vanessa, is not just emotionally supporting him, she's actively helping him hide assets. She's been transferring money to accounts in her maiden name, bought a storage unit to hide valuable items from the house, including my grandmother's jewelry that she claimed was lost, and even put her name on the deed to the rental property Shane inherited from his grandfather. She smiled at me at the grocery store yesterday, touched my belly, and asked about the baby's movement, all while actively participating in ensuring my children will have nothing. I'll be back for an update. Update number 3. It's been exactly 2 long weeks, and OP is back for an update. I gave birth alone. Shane emptied our bank accounts while I was in active labor. Every penny, checking, savings, even Jackson's college fund that my late grandfather started with $10,000. While I was screaming through contractions that felt like my body was being ripped apart, begging for an epidural that came too late because Shane wasn't there to sign the insurance form. He was at the bank with Amber, withdrawing $47,000. The teller later told me that they were laughing about it, that Amber was wearing my pearl earrings, the one Shane's grandmother gave me at our wedding. The nurses kept asking where my hubby is, their eyes full of pity that made me want to scream, "He's on his way!" I lied through all the contractions, knowing he was probably just messing around with Amber while I pushed our daughter into the world. The anesthesiologist held my hand during the final pushes. A stranger showed me more kindness than my own husband. So, 8 hours after Emma was born, while I was still trying to figure out how to get her to latch, Shane shows up with Amber. They strolled into my recovery room like they were visiting a distant relative. Me sitting there in some mesh underwear, just ice packs between my leg, trying to feed my hour-old infant. Amber was wearing a crop top that said baby girl. Her hand was on her own pregnant belly, reaching for my newborn daughter. She actually tried to take Emma from my arms, just oohing and awing about her being bonus mommy number 2. Security had to physically remove them when I became what Shane called hysterical. Not protective, not maternal, hysterical. Like I was some unhinged woman instead of a mother who had just given birth alone, protecting her newborn from the woman who destroyed her family. While I was still in the hospital, Shane's lawyer sent a courier with papers demanding I vacate the house immediately. The nurse found me sobbing over legal documents while trying to pump for Emma, who wouldn't latch. The next 3 days were the darkest of my life. I lived in my Honda Civic with a toddler and a newborn. Have you ever tried to change anything? It's like really bad poop at first, and it's in the backseat of a car. Or kept a confused 14-month-old entertained when he doesn't understand enough why we can't go home. So I parked at a Walmart, rotating locations so security would not notice. Going inside to use the bathroom to clean my, self. Warming formula with hot water from the bathroom tap because Emma still would not nurse and we couldn't afford the ready-made kind. Shane would change every lock and moved Amber in immediately. Our neighbor sent me photos from Amber's Instagram. It was my kitchen. A grandmother's china, which is my grandma. Jackson calling Amber Mama, because that's what Shane coached him to say. And the caption on Instagram said, "Loving our little family. Sometimes God's plan doesn't make sense until it does. #blessed mom." Update number 4, The Turn. Guys, I'm posting from a different account because, Shane found my other one, so I had to make a new one. Something changed when I saw Emma's rib through her skin. My milk had dried up from stress, and she would not take formula, and she lost a dangerous amount of weight. Looking at my baby girl suffering because of what her father had done, I felt pure rage. Pure calculated mathematical rage. So, Travis reached out, asking to meet at a 24-hour Denny's in the middle of the night. He looked destroyed, hand shaking around his coffee cup, but what he told me changes everything. Shane was not just cheating with Amber, there was 3 others. Paige, his business partner who owns 51% of their company, has been sleeping with Shane for 2 years thinking they're soulmates. Margaret, a federal judge's wife, meets Shane every Tuesday for lunch. Oh, and Chloe, a 19-year-old barista who thinks Shane is recently divorced. So I reach out to Dustin, Amber's deployed husband, through Facebook. The video call was absolutely brutal. I mean, this combat Marine cried like a baby when I told him everything. He's been sending her money for their dream house, working extra duties and missing meals to save more. He was coming home on an emergency leave. Paige was brilliant. I'm talking MIT graduate. Built their company from nothing. When she learned the truth, she didn't cry. She got silent, then said, "Let's destroy him." Margaret's family owns half the commercial real estate in our city. Her father is a federal prosecutor. She was mortified but vengeful. She said, "No one makes a fool out of me." We formed an alliance, 5 women Shane had wronged, meeting at Margaret's gated mansion where Shane couldn't track us. We called ourselves Project Mayhem. I don't know, just because it sounded cool in the group chat. Paige has been writing down everything. Shane's embezzlement is what we're calling it. But really, I mean, it's over $200,000. But more importantly, we discovered something. He was using their company money to sell illegal stuff. Yeah, real stuff, federal crime. Margaret's husband opened an investigation into Shane's custody lawyer. Turns out there were multiple complaints about fabricated evidence. And Travis gave us access to Shane's storage unit full of hidden assets. We found documents showing Amber had been stealing from military wives through a fake support group, taking deployment benefits from women whose husbands were serving. I mean, this is getting deep. Update number 5, the plan. So, Dustin arrived with his military lawyer. The rage in his eyes when he saw the photos of Shane and Amber in his bed could have melted steel, but he stayed calm. Focused, he said, "We do this the right way." So Paige calls an emergency board meeting while Shane was in Cabo with Amber using the stolen money. By the time they landed, Shane was fired. His office cleaned out, his company access revoked, and, well, the government agencies were waiting in the parking lot with a warrant. You know, his little operation, it was interstate. That's a federal charge. Mandatory minimum. Shane's mother, Vanessa, accounts were frozen, and she was listed as CFO on all the shell companies. His father, not passed away, as Shane claims, surfaced from Arizona and filed for divorce from Vanessa after 40 years, disgusted by everything. The IRS audit Paige triggered found $500,000 in unreported income. The house went into foreclosure, but I already removed everything valuable. Photos, albums, jewelry, even the good blender. Travis helped us access Shane's cryptocurrency wallet. It was $300,000 worth of Bitcoin, all anonymously donated to women's shelters and domestic violence organizations. Update 6. The local news they picked up first. It was something like executive arrested in love triangle scandal. Then the details emerged. Shane's other victims came forward. His high school girlfriend, he's gotten her 16-year-old stepsister pregnant when he was 22. His first wife from Maine no one knew about, and he owed 10 years of child support for twins. Dustin found Shane at his house in his bed with his wife. The confrontation was epic. Shane, soft from years of yoga and expensive lattes, tried to fight a Marine who saw actual combat. Shane was arrested for assault and Amber for fraud, but the best part? DNA testing revealed Shane was not the father of Amber's baby. It was Travis. See, Travis had slept with Amber to get revenge for Shane sleeping with his ex-wife years back. Shane found out in county jail. His cellmate filmed the reaction. It went viral on TikTok, I hear. 2 million viewers. Final update 6 months later. Shane was sentenced to 12 years in a federal pen. No parole for federal crimes. He's doing at least 10 of it. The judge called him a systematic predator who destroyed multiple families. I got full custody, no visitation. The judge actually laughed when Shane's lawyer requested weekends. I bought our house back at auction for $30,000. Margaret's father made sure I was the only one who knew about the sale. Shane's prison cellmate is Dustin's cousin, another Marine who really doesn't like men who prey on military families. Shane's in protective custody now after several accidents. He even writes apology letters I use as kindling for the fireplace in the house that he tried to sell. Vanessa got 5 years, and yeah, she lost absolutely everything. Shane's father remarried to a woman from my mom's book club, which is beautifully ironic. Amber's doing 3 years, lost her military benefits, her marriage, everything. The baby was adopted by a wonderful couple from Oregon. Travis is in therapy, dealing with his guilt by volunteering at a domestic violence shelter, and I started a blog about surviving narcissistic abuse during pregnancy. Well, to anybody asking if I feel bad, no. He tried to destroy me while I was carrying his kid. He left me homeless with a newborn and a toddler, and he exposed me to diseases while pregnant. He tried to steal my children's future. He got exactly what he deserved. Sometimes the best revenge is not forgiveness. Sometimes it's complete and systematic destruction of someone who tried to destroy you first. Shane's next parole hearing is in 8 years. I'll be there with my PowerPoint presentation, receipts, and my beautiful children who don't even remember him. He's not going out early on my watch. Edit. Since everyone is asking, yes, this is real. I have court documents, news articles, and therapy bills to prove it. Edit 2. To the women who message me saying she thinks her husband might be cheating, trust your gut. It's always the right pick, and document.